At the end of the day, understanding and taking true inventory of what's working, what's not. If you don't know, sit down and ask yourself those questions. Just shout out on your team. I've had those tough conversations several times this year with our team. Like, all right, team huddle, emergency huddle. What's working, what's not?
Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott, and we got the missus, the none other, the four-time offender coming in.
Can we do that again?
No, we can't. We're not.
You're the only one who's laughing.
What's hilarious is, I don't know, it's some kind of problem. There's got to be a name for it because I just love shocking you. And what people don't see is behind the scenes, she hates it when I say a repeated offender coming back. She's like, what the hell is... So anyway, we got the missus in the house, Miss Jennifer Elliott.
Woo woo! It's official. I have all my identification now is Jennifer Elliott. Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm pretty excited about that.
What's cool is happy anniversary, by the way. I love you.
I love you too.
So it's been 1 year on the 12th, October 12th. How do we do it? I don't know. We made it again. This December will be 10 years, though. What do you got to say in last almost 10 years of being with me?
Oh, it's a fun ride.
I don't even know what that means. I mean, it's fun, but how fun?
Super fun.
Super fun.
Yeah. And I love every single moment of it. I feel like we just started to dating. Not like in the very beginning, because that was extra fun, but it just feels like, no, but it just feels like loving each other more. Like, I just love you more and more every single day. And I'm so grateful to be your wife. I'm honored to be your wife. And I'm grateful that you're my husband. I love being a wife. And I love this marriage that we have together.
Ditto. I love that.
Ditto.
All right, guys, we are going to get into the nitty gritty. This wasn't about us, but we are going to talk about us. We're going to be extremely vulnerable. As always, we're going to be as transparent as possible. I want to talk about all the companies in business, in life, in whatever the heck you are going through, and shout you out and acknowledge you if the last 6 to 12 or 18 months, potentially even last 24 months, has been a sloping ride in the negative, going the opposite way. Not to be pessimistic, not to be, a Debbie Downer, but I want to call a spade, and I want to acknowledge people, and I want to call them out for the simple fact that we know what's going on in the economy, within real estate, within the overall markets. We know it's been a tough year, to say the least. It's been a tough year for us, and we're going to share more about that with you, personal as well as business. If you're doing great in business right now, by the way, like, we love that. We want to hear more of those stories. Please, keep those coming, because we know you're out there. And so if you're doing good, if you're crushing it, if it's not all sunshine and if it is sunshine and rainbows right now and you're doing excellent, then great. We want to hear about those testimonies, because it inspires other people as they're in those slumps, or when they're having a tough day, a tough week, a tough month, a tough quarter, or whatever, right? But for everybody else, because I do believe there's probably a heavier audience on the majority of potentially struggling. And it's not just because of what, like, us and what we're going through, but we also know the space. We're very well connected. We know a lot of people that are struggling very similar. And so we've had great friends of ours going out of business. We've had other people struggling to stay afloat. Just the markets are not easy right now. And it was so good for so long. So eventually, something's got to pop, something's got to give. And it's not all getting demolished. I don't want to be like that, but I also want to call a spade and be able to figure out intelligently, what do you do? Because it's not all Instagram overnight success. Everything's all fine and dandy for everybody out there. And so if that is you, if that resonates, if that strikes a chord by any means, then good. Let's talk about it. Let's get raw, vulnerable, transparent, and get to the point, because that's what it takes to be able to get out of the circumstances, right? To be able to figure out what is the problem, where we're currently at, and where we looking to go. So I'm excited to dive in with you guys about that, because again, we've seen it in the market. We've seen plenty of our friends and others struggling out there. And a lot of visionaries, we just get so optimistic and thinking like, oh, it's going to turn, or we'll just keep doubling down and doing all these things. And it doesn't always turn out to be that way, right? I feel like I'm talking a lot. I'm about to rip into some things, but is there anything else that you want to add to that?
No, that was a great preface. But let me tell you, there are better news, and there's our strategic ways you can get through it. And so this is not just super doom's gloom, just let you know.
Yeah.
And so just want to preface that. And yeah, this episode is going to be a special one. Not only that we're celebrating our 1 year being married officially tomorrow, October 12th, and then also just us being really raw. We really wanted to be super vulnerable to you guys, because that's the only way we're going to be able to grow and learn together as a community, and all you guys that are listening to this. So yeah, let's talk about
Let's get it.
Worst case scenario. Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to basically journal this out and speak to you on what's gone through my mind and through like cigar nights with some of the boys, and like hearing others struggle in business, in life, in other areas out there that are similar.
Yeah.
And if you're going through the same thing, it's just important to like have some backup plans, right? And have your rip cords. Like when you're jumping out of a plane, you have some rip cords for a parachute, right? You have a backup one just in case. Like, so what does that actually look like strategically? Because what we've come to find is business owners out there, typically when they lose everything, it's because they just kept on being very optimistic, which is good. It's in your nature. It's in our nature as entrepreneurs, but you keep on thinking that it's going to do well. So you just double down. You just double down again and go more in. And then before you know it, you have all this, team members that you're supplying for them, and then you're not making enough money. What got you successful isn't going to get you to the next level potentially, or the market changed. You got to listen to the market. You got to keep an eye on the numbers, and you're not cutting off people enough. So then you start going into debt. Then debt starts cutting you off. And then what else? Then you go out of business, and then it's hard for you to actually start over, because you just demolished your credit. You just demolished the relationships. You put yourself in a very big pickle to, how do you actually get out of it? So what we've come to find, and thank God we haven't experienced this, but what we've seen from others is don't do that. Don't do that. Get your backup plans together up front. Again, it's important to stay optimistic. It's important, but it's in your nature as a visionary, typically, as a business owner. Like you're going to be that way. Typically, not always. Everybody's personality type's different, but know your strengths. Know I'm more of, I don't think about the past hardly ever. I think about the future, and I'm very optimistic in the future, but I'm also typically negative in the present, right? And so what is yours?
And then mine is like the opposite of that. I am thinking about the past. Even when I'm driving, I'm mostly looking at the past. But don't worry, I'm looking forward when I'm driving too. So it's safe.
She's a woman. She can do both at the same time. It's all good.
Yeah.
She can plan out lunch, dinner, all the things later.
And think about other things.
Yeah.
But anyways, besides that, so I'm looking back in the past, but I'm really optimistic in the present moment.
So you think less about the future, you think more about optimistic in the moment, and then you think more about the past. So just knowing and being very raw and upfront with yourself of what is yours? Like where do you typically find yourself? Opposites typically attract, but you also, not everybody, we acknowledge, like works with their significant other, right? So whatever your business structure looks like or personal life looks like, just obviously make sense of that. But
it's not like just throwing that out there, the optimistic, like you already have that as an entrepreneur, and it's not a bad thing when you are, looking for a backup plan, because you still need that like you still have to be optimistic, but in a way that's strategic to your business. And then now we're going to talk about the strategy part. of how to prevent that.
You want some realistic stuff too behind it.
Yes.
Because if you find yourself going into a tough season and you have 90 days left to stay afloat, or 30 days left to stay afloat, or whatever it looks like what does it really look like?
Mm-hmm.
You can't be so optimistic saying, well, I guess I'm going into debt now and hopefully the next 30 days I can come up with something.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then what?
Yeah.
Then you start missing bills, you start jacking up your credit, you start going into debt, you start fire sailing things, you start taking less.
Mm-hmm.
No bueno. Don't do that. So how do we plan in advance? But just being super raw with you guys, personal life this year has been tough in general. Personal has been bad, but also, I wouldn't say bad, just tough, right? There's a season for everything. And then also just business has been difficult. This year, around springtime, we had a COO with us for about 9 months and just realized man, he was the wrong one. He was doing wrong. He was making changes wrong. And he just was more corporate and not what we needed. Mm-hmm. And so realized it was a bad fit. We got rid of him and it was a struggle at first. What made it worse was there wasn't communication with the sales team and the marketing. Wasn't enough. And therefore the sales cycle started, burning out. Eventually, because there wasn't enough communication, there wasn't enough reviews of calls, the marketing side just went off the fence and we got into a really bad pocket of, poor leads that couldn't afford anything. It was the wrong avatar.
Yeah.
And so now we're doing these big events virtually online and spending a lot of money to get people there. Usually it's very successful, but it turned into all right, well, this is I'm speaking to the wrong audience. It's trying to sell meat to a bunch of vegetarians. It's wrong crowd. It's what are you doing? I'm trying to sell filet mignon or Kobe beef, the best of the best to a bunch of people that it's ew, that's yucky, or
so with
I don't want that.
And with all this happening, as you can tell within the chaos of the business of certain things, the personal side, what Brandon and I was going through, so being very vulnerable. This is the first time we're actually telling it in public, is that we actually experienced a miscarriage. And that was really hard to go through. And it was a really tough season. And while going through that, if anybody has ever experienced that, I'm sorry they've gone through that. But let me tell you, we are made to be fruitful. And so that's the word that we're standing on. But even before that, it was just emotionally, physically, and going through that together and separately. Yep. And then dealing with the stuff in the business. So you can just imagine all these things that are going on. And I don't think Instagram shows the behind the scenes of the things that we go through, emotional people that rely heavily upon us. And I'm not just talking about our crew or our team here, but then also our family, each other. I mean, there's a lot of things in the
family, church, just influence in general. We have hundreds of members within our programs. We have almost 30 employees. We have our families, so it's there's a bunch of people in all different areas, and you don't realize, but because we are so hopeful and excited to have a family, when we found out that we were having a family, it was just the most excitement. And you start having goals and dreams and vision for the child. For us, it was instant. We've had names picked for our kids for years now. And that intention and having that kind of just taken away from us about a month later was just very surreal. It was something that we originally, until we experienced it, we didn't expect to have the feelings that we did of basically robbery and just the pain from that. So
yeah,
I believe we've gone through the healing process of it, and so it's
Jesus.
Yeah, thank you, Jesus. And so, but it was definitely a season for sure. I mentioned the sales team, I meant a fulfillment team as well, and all different teams. It's it's just a lot, right? And not having the money coming in, having a lot going out, and then our real estate, to say the least. Because of the economy, because of the market, because of whatever. I don't know. The people that we've hired on in the past to do short-term rentals just weren't cutting it and we gave a lot more freedom because I wanted her out of the business. Eventually, I didn't want her to have to deal with those burdens because I wanted to knock her up. I wanted to turn her into my baby mama. And because
We're married.
it's okay.
Saying.
Yeah, it's biblical. We good. But because of I wanted to free up her headspace and just not have to worry about the day-to-day chaos, elevate, delegate. We were doing that. Wrong butts, right seat type of thing, potentially. Just the wrong people at the end of the day. And so it took us a while to fire and get rid. And then we tested out somebody new and just let them go. Gave them 2 months, didn't work out, and knew fairly quickly. And so now we're looking into some long-term options. But needless to say, our real estate, it's a lot. And what that means is the mortgages are a lot, not like the delicious drinks, but like the expensive dollar amounts that drain your bank account. And so that stuff adds up. And because of that, it funnels from the main business and so forth. And we're blessed to be a blessing and to have other resources, other buckets, other funnels. We have no money into our real estate, which is incredible, super blessed. But a lot of folks out there, even people that I speak to and leads that we speak to, it's very natural for others out there to count our money before we even count ours. People assume, people project, people BS out there and want to start counting our dollars like we're rich upon rich and daddy Warbucks rolling on gold, and it's like you don't know and you don't see, and don't let the IG fool you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll always be upfront and always be super blunt. Somebody else that our poor is probably at this season different than somebody else's poor, and they would be like, hey, that's a lot of money. But we got a lot of responsibilities, a lot of people to look over, a lot to serve. And because of all of these things, anything at any given moment can blast off and cost a bunch of money. And so we need, an overflow to just make things happen. So with all that being said, this year has just been finding new employees for certain leadership and so forth. Getting a new COO and dialing things in. It's been pretty incredible. But I think also some of these ripcords to come up with that plan B, it's important to realize. One of the biggest things, and I think if you're taking notes on this, which we do encourage, write this down. Most people out there, they don't have their numbers dialed in. And if I can be the most blunt as possible, something that has changed the game for us is hiring on that fractional CFO. You don't need a full-time multiple six-figure CFO, right? But you could get a fractional one that still crushes it. And that's what ours has done for us. For a couple grand a month, has been able to bless so much, being able to give clarity, been able to find embarrassingly on several accounts right away within the first couple months, found an extra $500,000 in some merchant account that we had no idea about, just so you know. 6 months later, found another 40,000 on some other one that was closed out years ago and they never gave us money back, but that we didn't know about. Wild things. And that's just I could go on and on and on. What I can tell you is dialing in the numbers properly can help you bring clarity, because they're going to tell you about the problems up front. If you don't see it because you're too optimistic, you're too much of a visionary, but the numbers aren't coming in the way that you expected and more going out, and they can tell you, hey, dude or dudette, you got 60, 90 days. What are you going to do? How are we going to overcome this? What's the circumstances? This is what the facts are, because numbers don't lie. You can lie to yourself all day and optimize yourself and say amazing things in the mirror, which we encourage, manifest your future. Don't lie to yourself, but manifest your future. But you also got to be realistic and say hey, we need a true game plan. So dialing that stuff in is super important.
Yeah, that is so good. And just to really nail it in, you guys, if you can take anything, I mean, this is only like the first point we really want to share right now. There's other points that we want to share. Oh,
Keep going.
okay. Yeah. Is getting this fractional CFO was one of the best things that we have done for our business. And not only is she finding like things, well, the one that's working for us is like finding like this account of funds, but then also
All right, stop. This pissed me off. How do I do it now?
Carla.
All right.
There you go. Having too much fun.
Having too much fun.
I'm staying still.
Okay.
Staying still. Okay.
All right. Back at it.
And then going back, just really quick on the fractional CFO is not just only finding the funds that you are, but showing your funds from 60 to 90 days, but also showing what can you take out already before that? And showing, okay, well, if you want to dive in more for another team member, or if you want to invest in this or invest in that, they'll actually tell you. So you're not going through your gut feeling, oh, I feel like this is going to be the right thing. Well, yes, maybe it is the right thing for you to do for your business, but can you actually sustain it? And then can you still is it going over your overhead?
Yep.
So that's really important.
So a couple things. So number one, like we were talking about, just dialing in the finances, because just like Jen was just saying, at the end of the day, you can be very optimistic of, hey, I want to jump into this. I want to invest here. I want to put money here. And you might have it at the time, but are you going to be able to get the ROI that you need in the next 30, 60, 90 days?
That's really good.
To be able to pay it off?
Yeah.
Or are you digging a hole so much stronger, so much deeper than you were anticipating?
Yeah.
That's going to level out the business and demolish it because of your optimistic approach. Don't do that. I've had to be held back several times this year of wanting to do things and about to do things, and then realizing, like, are we realistically going to get the ROI from that like we want, expect, and anticipate? And if not, then yeah, something's got to give.
Yeah.
Let me put the crowd.
Athena's super excited to join. But yeah, these are all really great points.
All right. Now let's jump into what I wanted to say is, like, for our ripcord, right? As you're jumping out of the parachute, what's your ripcord look like? So our ripcord is sitting down with our CFO, number one, and she has built out a process basically for us. She is in the middle of finalizing this, that what it looks like is when we hit a certain dollar amount that we're like, all right, at this point, we don't feel comfortable. This is where we draw the line in the sand and we say enough is enough. We're not going to push it any further. Now we start looking at certain team members that's costing us the most and we're not getting the most bang for our buck. And we acknowledge, okay, unfortunately, we have to either cut salaries back temporarily, or we need to put them on a furlough plan. We need to put them on something to be able to get them to make up money to keep their spot, or we need to cut them. And it's a bittersweet situation, but that's just what it is. So if we don't want to get to that line, then now we know where the line is, because that's number one, right? If you don't know where it is, you're going to push it. But now that we know that line, now we'll stay very, very far away from it. When we get 30 days away from that line, 60 days away from it, we're saying, whoa, this is our line, that our invisible line. The real line's coming up. And we don't want to affect our family within our business. You know, like, we need to stir up some money and start having those conversations now, because if it gets to this place that we said as a team, then we would start have to cut people or have tough conversations. And we don't want that to happen, because it could be a ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two is, say we hit that line and we start cutting people. What does it look like to be able to have all hands on deck to start having the tough conversations? People are getting cut and we're like, all right, now we're down to the last handful that are going to make us a strong ROI. We have to, or else then what? So the next ripcord is, you know, at some point when we draw the line in the sand again and say, hey, we're like another month or so out. At that point, then we're like, enough is enough. We need to start selling properties. And we don't want to get into a vulnerable position where we have to like fire sell them. We still want to give it time to be able to list it, sell it, make money, prioritize it. So it's not like sitting, but understand it's a tough market right now. So how much time are we actually giving for these properties and we're not going to get premium. We're going to sell it for, whatever, under market or current market value, and expect it might take some time. So having all those expectations and buying yourself, like rounding up on, if you think it's going to take 2 months, give it 2 or 3, like give it 3 to 4 months. If you think it's going to be $100,000, give it 150, like 200,000, whatever, like whatever the numbers are, like round up on your expenses, round down on your income. You should always do that to give yourself a little bit of a buffer. But that's kind of like our ripcords, right? So number one, I highly encourage focus on your numbers, get a true CFO that really is talented. If you need one, reach out. I can always connect you with ours, but it's really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to bring so much clarity, save you money, make you money in so many ways, and be the truth because the numbers won't lie. And then again, for our ripcord, it's team members at a certain point. So we clearly know. And then the second line and final line is getting rid of real estate. Because if that's bleeding us, then if we drop down to just our house, just our cars, and then some extra bills and maybe a marketing guy, I can do fulfillment, I can sell, and we have a big list, right? Like we can bring in some extra money to be able to fulfill those things. And then because I know how to do real estate in the past, I could do it again.
Yeah.
So is that really the worst case scenario? It's better to do it in my own terms, worst case scenario, versus finding yourself late on payments, late on mortgages, going in debt on credit cards and like messing up your credit. And then you have like foreclosures. Like that would be horrible because now it takes time and messes up everything for you to actually be able to repeat the process. So don't do that. Have your game plans, have your ripcords. Please have your ripcords. Anything else on that before we switch up to 2?
Yeah, well, just the last part of like where the bleeding is like the real estate. Let's just say for you, it's not the real estate, but it's something else that's another business that is really bleeding you and you're really breaking it down. Understand truly the math of what is really bleeding you and then having it let go. But yeah, everything is spot on.
Yeah. So let's talk about number 2. We put focus. Focus, man.
Yeah, focus.
What do you mean by focus? Talk to me.
All right. Now that we passed that you got your chess plays, your chess moves, all right,
Yep.
or your life. Remember, life is like a chess game that you're playing. And so you're thinking not just 10 steps ahead, but you're thinking about many more ahead. And now focus. In this season, you got to stay focused not only on what is the game plan, but then like the strategies that you have, but then also focusing on like the good of what you have. Things that are things that are working and things that are not working, right?
Yeah.
And then is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I do. So I'm glad that you paused. So running the numbers, right? So that you can actually see and take inventory in general, what is working and what's not. Because if you have things on the plate that are working, then acknowledge those, count them, and be blessed by that. It's very easy, especially as guys or any individual out there that's like very driven and entrepreneur-like. You hit a win and you kind of like check it off like a dude, like, all right, one last thing to do. Cool, done. Good report. That's awesome. But when the negative thing comes in, you really dwell on it. And that's not, like how do we flip that, right? How do we spend less time on the little headaches and realize like that's comes and goes, like we'll get through it.
Yes.
Let's problem solve that. But let's actually stay for a moment over here in what's working. And let's like praise that up for a minute. Let's give it honor and glory of what it deserves. And then afterwards, let's try to repeat more of those. Like how did we get that? How do we dwell on that a little bit more? I think it's important to do so because at the end of the day, understanding and taking true inventory of what's working, what's not. If you don't know, sit down and ask yourself those questions. Just shout out on your team. I've had those tough conversations several times this year with our team. Like, all right, team huddle, emergency huddle. What's working, what's not?
Yeah.
We know marketing's not. We know the leads aren't. We know this isn't. So that's what we do know. It's not, but this is working. That's working. This is working. So how do we double down on this? And how do we actually fix some of these issues? When you come together as a team and you really start brainstorming on it, there starts being a shift in it. But what I can say is this, like, Pressure is, it either makes you or breaks you. And as a business owner and entrepreneur, it is very, very easy to have the crazy roller coasters of ups and downs. And
It's just how we know.
we were joking about it last week of like, it is crazy. It is crazy. Like you can't even explain it, how crazy it is until you start living it of like, oh my God, like one day you'll make like $100,000 or like we just signed a bunch of real estate just the other day of like, we're getting like 1.1 million back. Like that's going to hit our bank accounts next week. Great. Like, wow. But like, you get a call also the other day of like, hey dude, you need 200,000 in the bank to send out. And this is the last day, you got 2 hours to do it. Like, wait, what?
Seriously, that was a phone call. Like, that is wild.
You need 200,000 like right now. It's like, because I don't have it in my main account. I'm going to have to switch over my other account. I'm going to have to liquidate some crypto or whatever. It's like, I have to move money around. It's like, wait, what? So it's a weak example there. But there's so many.
There's
so many things
that come into play. And as an entrepreneur, like, it's not just like the business stuff. It's also personal that gets in there too. And so like family stuff arise here and then your friends there. And it's just, oh my goodness, it's just everything is just popping all at once.
Yep.
But we kind of like it because that's why
but we're kind of into it. If we'd be really honest, we kind of like the little ickiness, the little craziness.
Entrepreneurs, you understand this. No, you truly understand this. Like,
so funny.
At this point, I think we do love this for ourselves. There's like a running joke within our entrepreneurial community.
Look, when we go out to eat, and we do it frequently, because that's like our piece of like working from home, we go out to eat after to get out of the house and relax. But what I can tell you is this. You sit back, because we used to work in the restaurant industry for a long time. And when we sit back and realize like, man, just looking at these guys in their restaurant position, their mindsets are different. Their goals, if any, are different. It's just like their hopes, dreams, like what they want out of life. It's not, I'm not saying better, it's just different. It's like there's growth that has taken place over time that we will never go back to certain things. And thank God for it, because we just know too much. We know we're equipped with too much. But it's important to realize as an entrepreneur, because of the ups are high and the downs are very, very low. You could get death threats, you could get lawsuit threats, you could get, just feeling like, holy cow, the world is crumbling around us. Like, we've been in seasons that unfortunately we gave more fear, because the enemy gets in your ear and starts telling you these wild things. Like, we've stayed in that longer than we ever should have. I remember being fully transparent, fully, vulnerable here. Last December, there was a tough season that it lasted for a couple weeks. And when it shouldn't, like, I remember going grocery shopping at one point and it felt scary when it didn't need to, really. And I just couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe it. And it's just the enemy comes in and gets in your ear and tells you some BS. And it's like, it's crazy. But what I can tell you is this: the more we've jumped into like 2 other little pockets throughout the year of it looks scary, it looks tempting, it's whatever. And we've learned to give less attention to the fear, anxiety, stress. We've canceled it out. We've leaned on God's word, like the one and only living God, and like leaned on his word and what he's called us to be and become, and know that we are good in his hands. We know tithers' rights. We've really dialed in less of a fear mindset. Not that it's perfect. I mean, last week there was a day and a half after doing payroll that it's like, but then realizing that we have so many things in place that it's like, it's just the enemy comes around. So understand these things. Understand these things. And be very cautious of it. Have realistic expectations with your numbers, have ripcords, have backup plans, but still keep your heart, your integrity, keep a sound mind, cancel out the enemy when it comes in and tries to steal, kill, destroy, whisper in some BS. Acknowledge it, number 1, and cut that stuff out, number 2, and surround yourself with some big players. prayer has been able to help us tremendously. Church, being in communities around circles that care, going to men and women's prayer has been excellent and super beneficial.
Yeah, it's been game changing. There is so much gold in what Brandon has said, and just dissecting it is really like, yes, know your numbers, but number two is like having gratitude, focus on that gratitude of what you have. And then also to end that with is like the prayer, having your community that you're able to pray with and believe in with you and stand in agreement with you is so key. I'm telling you, when it came to business, when it came to struggles with just dealing with like that personal life with the miscarriage and just standing on his words and believing his promises that he has for us is so important. And now let me tell you, if you are not a believer, okay, if Jesus is not your team, it makes it really hard. I'm telling you, when Jesus is on your side and really knowing like what he did for us, it is so freaking helpful. And especially in times where you're in a growing season, we call it a growing season, we call it a learning season.
Yeah.
And so growing pains and just going through that tough season. And again, you're not the only one, but most importantly, just getting it around the right kind of people that actually will lift you up and not bring you down. Because while you're in the mix of this, you gotta be that leader for your team.
Yeah, and just so you know, like God's always on your side. He's always on your side and he's always fighting for you. It's up to you though. It's up to you because he's given us free will to acknowledge him. And when you acknowledge him and you surrender everything, not just say, yeah, I believe in God, but also like when the enemy comes around, understanding, like get in the word, getting the Bible and realize what he's said about you and I, what he's called us. Like he's got good plans for you and I. So, and you know that the enemy is going to come in and speak some BS and try to scare you. And realistically, the chances of all this fear and anxiety and stress, like the likelihood of it coming to fruition is very slim, especially if you are calculated. The more educated you are, the more power you have. So dial in these numbers. It's going to bring a lot more clarity. And you can cancel out any of the BS from the enemy because you can stand on God's word. You can stand on the numbers that you're seeing, and you can have some lines to know where your ripcords are. But just standing on like his truth, it's always going to bring so much more peace.
So good.
When you surrender everything, like we don't need anything. If God took all of it away and we said, yep, pass the ripcord, done. It's like, it's okay, because the best part is where we are in life right now, that the knowledge that we've taken in, it can't be taken from us. We have too much. We won't go back to serving. Like we won't, because we don't need to. We know how to make money. We know how to save people's time. We know how to serve people. We know how to bless people. So it's like, can we make, if we cut off everything, like had nothing, had to go to a different state, a different country and start over again, we could get back to a million plus within a few months. Like it wouldn't take forever. And so there's power behind that. There's a lot of power
too.
Yeah.
You have the power by, as you got here, you can do it again. It's repeatable, right? And just to end on this, so if you are leaning on his promises, I just like to remember just like a few Bible verses that you can actually bring at any time. And the biggest one you probably heard is Jeremiah 29:11. The future that God has for you is filled with hope and prosperity. And whatever it is, no matter what other people are saying, you focus on that word and you know that your future is going to be hopeful and prosperous.
So good.
And then the second one, another one that I really love is Romans 8:18. The pain you've been feeling can't compare to the joy that's coming. And so like that pain, that growing pain that you're going through this tough season, just know that joy is going to come. And that joy doesn't mean just like this inside, but it's also flourishing in every single area of your life, whether that's business or personal. And so just hold on to Bible verses that you can come back to, and just like anytime I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, what the heck? What is going on? That's the enemy trying to go in. I'm like, oh my gosh, God, you told me Jeremiah 29:11, devil, bye. So you just stay with those words and whatever those Bible verses are for you. It's really important to have those.
That's good. So So we just acknowledge like we'll never lose. We'll just never lose. And it's because we have so much truth behind it. We know when a lie comes around, like if somebody calls you a crackhead and you never smoke crack in your life, you don't need to give it any peace. You don't need to give it any time, attention. You don't need to get butthurt for it because it's like, you got the wrong person. And if you really think I'm a crackhead, then you're potentially a crackhead. Like you're on something, and that's okay. But this is where we draw the line. You know what I mean? So it's like, when lies come in to try to steal, kill, or destroy, you can acknowledge it faster, cancel that stuff off, and be deep into the truth of what God's plans are for you and for your life, and know that it's a good future and so forth. We'll never lose. And so there's power behind that because we've come too far, we've learned too much, and we're prepared for it. So that focus is very, very tremendous. So let's drop into the third. And third and last, I was going to say, like, so what do you think about the top three? I always start with this. Inside jokes. All right. So the last.
Oh, we brought that up. I just got. We'll talk about it after this.
All right. So the last third.
Three.
Yeah. The third and final. We got the third and final. Make time.
Yeah.
Make time for what is important.
So I know we just dive really deep into like business, personal, and that's really the entrepreneurial life. It's business and personal mixed together. And so this last one is very important. You got to make time for what's important to you. And
no matter how bad it gets,
or messy or crazy or chaotic.
Yep. No matter how bad it gets, you got to make time for what's important to you. Speak on it.
Yeah. And so what I've been really enjoying, even for this season for us, is that we've been taking moments together to go to the beach.
Yep.
Just being out there and just taking the time to just refresh and renew our minds. It's been really helpful so that when we go back into like the busyness and the things that we're going through, we feel like there's more clarity. Take it as a clarity break. And this is something that if you are working with your significant other like we are, we do it together. Or just like, hey, let's just step out. It's like 15 minutes away from us or less than that, like to go to the beach.
Yep.
Also, family. Now, for us, it would be a family, just making time for them. My little brothers, they've slept over our house. We've taken them out and just really building that relationship because understanding like they're also growing up.
Yep.
And this is the only time we have now. And you never know.
Yeah, we're never promised tomorrow. So it's like you could dwell in all the headache and stress of business or whatever, but it's like, what is that going to do when you have good people in your circle that you want to laugh, you want to have memories, you want to enjoy things? Like, don't forget your core values. And our core values, one of them is family.
Yes.
It is impact. It is determination. So it's like, accountable. So it's all these things that we're like, no matter how bad it gets, it's always going to be us overall. And when I say us overall, I mean like us, not versus each other, but us versus the problems, the business, the issues, the whatever. It's always going to be us overcoming those things. No matter how bad it gets, we need to make time for what's important and identifying what our core values are and where, we say enough is enough. It also helps when you highlight and you're not sacrificing all these other areas. You really do enjoy family. You do spend time with friends. You do have like hanging out like with the girls, and you had a bunch of girls over for like the clothes swap or like cigar night for me and the boys. It's like when you prioritize those things, you just laugh a lot. You have a lot of fun. Those boxes of life are fulfilled and they're overflowing. So it brings more like all of life isn't falling apart.
Yeah, it brings more richness to your life because you're really building wealth within your business and your legacy, but it's bringing wealth within like inside of you, like the community that you have. And so like when Brandon was talking about like the cigar nights, I'm such a big advocate for like, it's nice for, all the couples that we hang out with each other, but then also separately, like the guys hang out with the guys and that they're able to just let off the load and talk about business, whatever it is that they want to talk to is very different from the girls when the girls hang out and talk about but it's something that like we need as well. Like we just came back from Cherish Conference, which was a women's conference hosted by our church, and we did like a staycation with the girls, and it was just so fun just being with the girls, but then also leaning into the word and getting refreshed and renewed. So when we get those refresh like downloads, we can go into the business and like being able to pour in again to our business. Now,
Be the best.
be
at
the
that
best.
point. Yep.
And if we're not doing that, how can we actually be the servant leader that we need to be for our business? How can we be a servant leader for our community? And how can we be the leader for our family, which I know most of us are. If you're listening to this, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you're the one that's breaking the generational curses, and they're leaning on you. They're leaning on you for also to set an example of like how you are and how you're navigating with your time.
Yep.
And I know something that we've heard before, like way back in the day where, you know, parents are working all the time and you don't get to really see them and to spend the time, like they don't know how to differentiate between business and like family. Now, I'm not saying taking it down on them. I understand they got to make money and to give them the family, but being able to like still try to balance as much as possible with family, friends, business, and life. So this is good.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's super important to have that well diversified, style of life so that you're not, when one area is really struggling and you feel a lot of pain and you're like down on that season, whatever it is, you aren't feeling like life's a complete mess. It's not like other areas are fulfilled, and it gives you that strength. It gives you more energy, rejuvenates to like get back into the game and overcome those circumstances. And just speaking from myself personally, like there's certain weeks that it's going to be really, really tough. And then there's other weeks that it's going to be incredible. And like the last 7, 8, 9 days, something like that, it's been incredible for me. And I believe for you as well. I hope so. But overall, it's like I've literally felt like the most, almost like a crackhead, like about a million things that I've either had to do or chose to do or have done, like task wise, and like everything is getting done like this, boom, 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 like one after another, and nothing's getting held up, nothing's stopping, and that's a lot, and it's crazy, and it is something that it's like holy smokes. But what I can tell you is it feels really good when you get into those seasons. You're making decisions quickly. You're problem solving fast. You don't feel like you're getting stuck. Nothing's getting stalled. And it doesn't always happen like that. So you got to be really blunt with yourself and prepared for it. But know this, that opposites attract. And so if you are working with your loved one, you might not be right now, and that's okay. But understand, like, if you're not working with them, then when you guys do meet at the end of the day or whatever it looks like, and you guys both go, through your own seasons of tough things, please meet the other person where they're at. And again, opposites attract. So if you are working with the other significant other, just know that when you're up and your partner is down, it's important to like bring them back up. It's important. If you guys are both down, then you guys are screwed. Like, I don't know, you go for an ice cream or a coffee break or something, do something. But usually, like, you guys just need a timeout. You guys got to relax and get back on point. But opposites attract typically. So it's like something that we've done. And she shouted me out a little bit ago of like, she was down some point this week and we took a break, ran out to get like an afternoon smoothie and grabbed a little protein smoothie, and she felt a little bit down and I was like up. And so I ended up just dancing with her and make
the store. It was so sweet.
And just made her swirl a bunch of times. And it's like the little stupid things that it takes 2 seconds and it meant a lot to her, and it breaks the sadness or the frustration, the pain or whatever you're stuck in right there. You start laughing, you start smiling, and you get back on like, all right, life's not too bad. Sit in the gratitude for a moment. We're good. We're blessed. This too shall pass, and we're back on track again. And so I think it's just important to know that about your significant other. Like when the other person's down, how do you actually pull them up? And everybody, like, your better half. So it's like, do whatever you got to do. All right, ladies or guys, do whatever you got to do to make them feel comfortable. Okay. Anything else on that?
Adored.
Yeah.
And honored. Yeah. So guys, life is tough and there's going to be a lot of things that come into play, whether you're a business owner, real estate investor, entrepreneur, and husband, wife, daughter, sister, whatever. There's going to be there's tough things, but just so you know, there's also goodness too.
Yeah.
So being grateful for what you have and going through the storm and sticking out together, because that's the most important thing, and what you have. And so just want to leave it on a really good note. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We definitely went over time, but only because we love you guys so much and really want to be super vulnerable so that you guys can not have to go through so much heartache.
Yeah. If you're going through something tough right now, you're not the only one. Number one. Number two, if you are, then dial in your numbers because it's really important. It really matters. And that there's truth within those numbers. And then afterwards, dial in your community, dial in the word and what God says about you and your life and your future, because all of that matters. And when the enemy comes around to sneak up and tell you some BS, cancel that stuff out and lean on the one and only living God's truth, as well as what your numbers tell you. And have your ripcords, because when you do these things, you have backup plans on backup plans. You don't put yourself in a horrible position. You're not those old school people in the past that have gone all in numerous times, just keep on doubling down, tripling down, and find themselves in bankruptcy, debt, foreclosure, and all those things. You don't need to go that far. The knowledge that we have at this point of being business owners and entrepreneurs, you should have power within that, because if you're controlling all of it, then you can get back on track. Okay. So I hope that leaves you with motivation this week. A couple to-dos of, if you don't have a CFO, if you don't have your numbers dialed in, figure it out. You got ChatGPT, like you got all different resources to figure out your numbers, dial that stuff in. It's important. And then you got a Bible that you can jump into as well. If you need any resources, if you need a church, check out ours, Awaken. Many different locations. If you need somebody to pray with you, reach out as well. If you got any questions besides that, let us know. If you're looking for funding, shameless plug, no shame at all. If you're looking for funding, check out Credit Counsel Elite. We're showing other business owners to get actually up to $500,000 with rates as low as 0% that could be repeated every 6 months per person at your disposal. So there's power behind that. If you are a business owner, if you're looking to start a business, grow a business, scale a business, you want to get the highest approval odds, up to 90%, the highest limits, the best terms and conditions, and rates as low as 0%. It's a no-brainer. Come check us out, creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. We got some free trainings every Sunday right now that I'm super blessed for. I'm excited to be able to pour into you if you fall within that category looking for funding. If you got a 700 FICO score and above, all right, 700 FICO score and above, if you're making 6 figures or more, we're looking to serve you. What else?
Woo! That's a goal, guys. That is how we started in real estate. And let me tell you, we poured our heart and soul into Credit Counsel Elite because we know how much it has not only changed our lives, but our family lives, our friends, and all the members that we have been blessed to service to. So please, if you can get in there on Sunday, this is for you. Don't miss out on opportunities. Okay, guys? Do not.
That's right.
And
we just hired on some more people for fulfillment too, which we are just like, stoked. Like, wait, all the members. Wait. We got some stuff cooking up in the back that is going to be incredible. Yeah. The next 6 to 12 months is going to be epic, to say the least.
Woo.
So not just from a crazy visionary, but I am pumped for it. You should be too. So we'll see you guys on the inside. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. What are you waiting for? What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Stop that right now. Hit that subscribe button. You'll get the newest notification every single Monday when the new episode drops. We love you guys all so much. Leave that 5-star review. Share it to your grandma, to your friends, your family, your neighbor, your significant other, business partner, to the mailman. Get it out there. We love you guys all. Keep it coming. And anything else?
No, we love you and happy anniversary.
Yeah, I love you.
I love you too.
Peace out, guys. God bless. If you guys need anything at all, reach out. We'll see you later.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until